Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're cutting through, well, quite a bit of noise around one of the most anticipated launches in years.
Hmm.
It's all centered on one of the biggest players on the planet, Apple.
Right.
For what feels like ages now, the tech world has been buzzing about their first true foray into foldables. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is we are, indeed, diving deep into Apple's highly anticipated first foldable smartphone.
Hmm.
Most people are calling it the iPhone Fold already, based on the rumors.
Right, the iPhone Fold.
And we've pulled together quite a stack of sources for you. We've got everything from detailed industry estimates, some intricate supply chain insights.
Okay.
Our mission today is really to distill all that down, cut through the noise, figure out what's truly important, and what the implications might be for you, the consumer, and the whole device landscape.
So let's jump right in then. For anyone keen to, well, get their hands on this, the burning question is always when? When can we realistically expect to actually see it?
Okay, so based on everything we've gathered, the expected launch window seems to be pointing towards the second half of 2026.
2026, second half, okay.
Yeah, and this isn't just like idle chatter anymore. Prototypes, final specifications, they're actively being hammered out with supply chain partners pretty much as we speak.
So it's really moving along.
It is. In fact, display production from Samsung Display, that's apparently already begun.
Wow, already?
Yeah. Now, Apple is planning what looks like a cautious initial rollout. They're targeting a production volume of maybe 10 to 15 million units initially.
10 to 15, that sounds cautious, like you said.
It is. And this calculated approach, well, it makes sense given the premium pricing we're expecting. It lets them sort of test the waters, and then ramp up production strategically if the demand is there.
That 2026 window, the cautious rollout, it definitely suggests Apple is taking their time, which, I mean, that's pretty typical for them, isn't it?
Exactly. They like to get it right.
But okay, once we know when it might arrive, the next big question, especially for anyone who's seen or used a foldable before, is what will it actually look like? And maybe more importantly, how will Apple solve some of those, let's say, persistent design challenges we've seen? Here's where it gets really interesting.
Right. So the expectation is a book-style fold. Think something quite similar in form factor to Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold series.
Okay, the in-folding book style.
Exactly. And our sources are getting specific, talking about a pretty generous 7.8-inch internal display. Great for productivity, watching videos.
Yeah, decent size.
And that's complemented by a convenient 5.5-inch cover screen for those quick glances, notifications, basic interactions.
Standard setup, makes sense.
But as you'd expect from Apple, premium build quality seems paramount.
Hmm?
We're hearing about advanced materials like a titanium casing.
Titanium, like the recent iPhones.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Incredibly strong, light, and a liquid metal hinge. Now, that's not just fancy talk. Liquid metal is chosen for its incredible strength and durability, resistance to wear.
Crucial for a hinge.
Absolutely crucial. Something that's folding and unfolding constantly, it needs to last. And all of this supposedly contributes to an extremely thin design, maybe around 4.5 millimeters when it's open.
Wow. 4.5 millimeters, that is thin for a foldable.
It really is. And, maybe most importantly, Apple is reportedly pushing Samsung Display hard for a crease-free panel.
Ah, the crease. The Achilles heel of foldables so far.
Exactly. This isn't just a minor tweak they're asking for. It could be a potential game changer. If they can eliminate that visual and tactile crease, well, that makes the experience truly seamless.
And maybe helps justify that premium price we mentioned.
Precisely.
Okay, so all of that sounds incredibly cutting edge, very Apple. But with that level of innovation, those luxury materials, the inevitable question for you, the consumer listening right now, is what's the damage? What's the wallet hit going to be? What's the projected cost? And how does Apple plan to maintain those, famously high profit margins?
Yeah, the big question. Well, UBS, they're projecting a retail price for this iPhone Fold somewhere between US $1,800 and $2,000.
$1,800 to $2,000.
Okay. What's intriguing, though, is that the top end, that $2,000, could potentially still come in just under Samsung's next big one, the projected Fold 7, which might also hit around $2,000.
Interesting. So potentially competitive, at least at the very high end?
Potentially. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Apple's bill of materials, the BOM, basically the cost to build the phone component by component.
Right.
That's estimated to be around US $759,
$759 to build.
which is actually about 4% lower than the estimated BOM for Samsung's current Galaxy Z Fold SE.
So they're building it more efficiently, cost-wise.
It seems so. And this isn't just, internal accounting. It's key to their strategy.
Yeah.
Keeping that build cost relatively low lets them maximize profit per unit, even if the retail price is competitive.
Which fuels R&D for the next thing.
Exactly. That efficiency, combined with Apple's brand power, is projected to result in really strong profit margins. We're talking 53 to 58%.
Wow, 53 to 58% margin. That's
Right.
staggering, even for Apple.
It really reinforces their premium market position, even entering a new category like this.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder if any other company could pull that off. But, okay, achieving those margins, delivering such a complex device, it isn't magic, right? It relies on this incredibly sophisticated, often invisible network of partners.
Absolutely.
So let's pull back the curtain a bit. Let's peek into that intricate supply chain. Who are the key players making this potential blockbuster actually possible?
It's a truly complex web, as you'd imagine. Samsung Display is pegged as the primary display supplier.
Makes sense. They lead in foldable displays.
They do. Expected to deliver maybe 7 to 15 million panels per year for this. LG Display is likely there as a potential backup, to ensure volume and mitigate risk.
Dual sourcing, standard practice.
Right. Then for the final assembly, putting it all together, Foxconn or Hanhai, they seem to be leading the charge.
You're surprised there.
No. Supported by Luxshare and Lens Technology as well. And beyond the big names, you have specialized material suppliers. Companies like Amphenol, PDK, SDI, they're contributing crucial components.
Especially for things like that hinge.
Exactly. That intricate, durable hinge, the overall chassis design. It's a massive global effort, coordinating thousands of different parts.
It really underscores the scale of launching a new product category like this. So let's talk strategy. How does Apple's timing here, what some might call a late entry into foldables, actually play out for them? What are the advantages, and how does it position them against players like Samsung, who've been in this market for years now?
Well, Apple's late entry, it isn't just about being cautious, I think. It's arguably a masterclass in strategic market timing.
How so?
By letting Samsung and others pioneer the technology, absorb those initial, often very high R&D costs, deal with early adopter feedback.
Iron out the kinks, essentially.
Exactly. Apple can then enter with potentially a more refined product, maybe more robust. They get to leverage supply chains that are now more mature, more optimized for foldables. And they have a clearer understanding of what consumers actually value in a foldable device.
So they avoid the early teething problems, hinge issues, visible creases.
Precisely. Those things that plagued first-gen foldables. Now, the main competitor on the horizon is likely Samsung's next iteration, the Galaxy Z Fold 7. That's expected, July 2025?
A year ahead of this rumored Apple launch.
Right. And rumors suggest the Fold 7 will have maybe an 8-inch inner screen, top-tier AI features, maybe a 200-megapixel camera.
Serious specs?
Very serious specs. So this raises an important question. Apple will need to compete hard, not just on the hardware specs alone, but really leaning into their strengths. Software polish, that seamless ecosystem synergy.
You mean how it works with your watch, your AirPods, your Mac?
Exactly. That effortless integration across all your Apple devices. That signature experience that, keeps users loyal.
The walled garden effect, some call it.
Right. Call it what you will. It's powerful. And beyond just phones, the launch of an iPhone Fold, it could really energize the entire foldable category, maybe push it beyond smartphones into tablets, perhaps even PCs eventually. It could set new standards.
Okay, so wrapping this up then, what does this all mean for you, the listener? It sounds like the iPhone Fold is shaping up to be a really strategic, potentially high-impact release from Apple.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be combining those premium materials we talked about, mature manufacturing processes learned partly from competitors' experiences, and maybe even a competitive price point, at least relative to the top-tier competition.
Right, while still maintaining those Apple margins.
While keeping those incredible margins. But its ultimate success, it really sounds like it'll hinge on that seamless ecosystem integration, that software finesse they're known for, and, well, frankly, whether people are willing to shell out close to $2,000 for a phone.
Yeah, that's the ultimate test. And maybe just a final thought to leave you with. Apple's foldable debut, assuming it happens around 2026, it probably isn't just about a new phone model.
What do you mean?
Well, this launch could signal the next major wave, or at least a major wave, in device evolution generally. It could really influence how you interact with technology across everything. Smartphones, tablets, laptops, maybe even wearables in the coming years.
So it's about potentially normalizing this form factor.
Exactly. Could the iPhone Fold be the device that finally pushes foldable tech into the mainstream, makes it feel like an indispensable part of your digital life? Or will it remain, a niche luxury item for a select few? That's the big question looking ahead.